And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Big Match Theory. I'm Mangesh and I'm joined by Abhishek. As you know, we are going to talk about the hot topic right now. We're going to talk about Liverpool and Mo Salah and Arne Slot and mainly Jamie Carragher. But before I hand it over to you, Abhishek,
Mhm.
I'll tell you something. Well, last night, while watching the United game, we were chatting on WhatsApp. And at the time, you said something like, yeah, Carragher has had a rant about Mo Salah.
Mm.
And I thought, yeah, I'll wake up, I'll get have a cup of tea and I'll watch Carragher ranting about Salah. And it's more like a rival thing that, yeah, I'll watch the world burn, that kind of stuff. And I fully expected Liverpool fans to turn on Mo Salah. But guess what? Most of them are having a go at Jamie Carragher for some reason, for the reason I simply cannot comprehend it. I mean, I don't understand what Jamie Carragher said was wrong. I mean, it's not like Jamie Carragher, it's not like rival fans try to defend Jamie Carragher, but in this case, as far as you're defending your club, Jamie Carragher was spot on. So please try to make a sense of all these things, what's happening behind the scenes, what's happening with Salah, what's happening with Jamie Carragher or Arne Slot. I'll hand it over to you.
So, I mean, there is so much going on at the moment. It's pretty sad what's going on. It's been it's only been 6 months, 6 or 7 months since we won the league, and this was supposed to be a season where we should have gone and again competed for the title. We should have been on our way to at least trying to compete for the title. The signings we made, the transfer window we had, everything that has happened since, it's been extremely bad. And you cannot, and whatever side you're on, if you think Carragher is right, if you think Salah is right, if you think whatever it is, the one thing you cannot doubt at the moment is that Slot is looks to be completely out of his depth at the moment. I don't think he has a clue about what he needs to do in terms of, see, what he needs to do with the team tactically, what he needs to do to motivate the team either. I think he is completely lost in many ways. I think, in terms of motivation, maybe he could use some help from some of the senior players. That's one important thing. But I feel like tactically he's very lost. And that's what I want to start with, talking about the manager first, right? Before you even talk about Salah and Carragher. It's because it's like he has, in the past few games, we've seen that whenever we are losing, Slot is just putting 4 or 5 attackers on the pitch. It's like, okay, let's say
Yeah.
throw the kitchen sink, try and see what happens. Let's see, something will happen, somehow we'll get a result, someone will score, and which is just very poor tactics, right? Like, if
Yeah.
when we used to have before, to be honest, right, like, until last year, he was not doing that. The only time I remember him doing something outrageous last year was against Nottingham Forest, in early on in the season when we lost.
Third game.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
were yeah, we were 1-0 down, and I don't know why he suddenly went three at the back. And we were actually gaining some momentum in the last 15-20 minutes, while and we were kind of keeping the ball and doing, it looked like we were at least making some effort, and then he went three at the back and the team looked utterly lost. Like, it felt like nobody had any clue what they were doing. uh, but that was the only time. But all the other times, he made a lot of good substitutions last year. He made a lot of good small tactical changes. The likes of Salah, Trent, all of them have praised him. I don't know what's happened this year. I don't know why he is uh, completely lost his way. He looks very clueless. I think the whole Isak uh, signing, I don't think he has any idea what to do with Ekitike and Isak at the moment. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think he knows what his best formation is. He tries a lot of players up front. He's been trying, but it's kind of, he's just trying to see what is sticking, right? What actually gives him results, rather than actually making any sort of a tactical approach towards this. So at one on one side, I feel bad for him that he's so lost, but it's and everything that has happened with Salah and Carragher in the past 24 48 hours has taken that attention away from Slot completely,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because at this moment the way it is that the Liverpool hierarchy is not going to go out and it makes him look weak if Salah has had this sort of reaction and they go out and make a rash decision against the manager. It makes them look much weak in terms of
Yeah.
what it means. So it's kind of taken that attention away from Slot. Maybe it's a good thing for him. Maybe he needs that. And we'll see what happens today in today's game. But one of the most poor things about Slot that I genuinely feel is uh, he's not good at rewarding any good performances. He's not good at that at all. So an example is like Federico Chiesa, for example, right? or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Rio, the 16-year-old who was a very bright spark in preseason and at the start of the Premier League. They both of them, they made a lot of good contribution at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Federico Chiesa had like 3 or 4 goal assists in the first few games, and he was making a lot of good positive contributions. And Slot should have rewarded that with more minutes for him, more minutes,
Yeah.
more time on the pitch. I'm not saying start him for 90. It's okay. At the moment, he comes on for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 minutes at the most, nothing more
And
than
he has
that, right?
contributed actually, right? He has scored a goal. He has
He
assisted a
has.
couple of goals whenever he has come on, right?
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
has 3 or 4 goals, and the point is that it must be like very deflating for any player that okay, you make
True.
these contributions, you have a good boost of confidence, but the manager still doesn't trust you. Then you as a player, it must be very deflating. The player is never going to grow, the player is never going to feel confident, and the player is never going to be able to make any contributions. This is one of the things that Klopp used to excel at. That even if it was a player he didn't really want, he would make sure that any positive contribution was rewarded with more time, more responsibilities. One great success story is Origi, right? Origi
Yeah.
was nowhere. He was almost out of the club. Already on loan in Klopp's initial seasons.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
came back. He gave Origi a chance. Origi, put in. He scored that goal against Everton, right? And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that was not enough. He still gave him a chance after that, and then you could see that he was one of those clutch players, and he kept
Yeah.
rewarding him. For me, Salah, Mane was still at the club, and Origi used to get so much minutes, so
Yeah.
much time on the pitch,
Yeah.
and he took all of those chances. So the great thing about Klopp was he used to make all the players feel 10 feet tall, give them that confidence boost, give them the chance, give them the opportunity, and Slot seems to have for some reason he's not doing that. He's not been doing that at all, and which is kind of one of the it's a good kind of segue into what's happening with Salah as well, because I feel like this is a absolute disaster in man management. Right. My point is that Slot's man management does not seem to be very good.
Hmm.
Uh, which is kind of what's going on with Salah. And before you go ahead, what do you think about Slot first?
See, I've said it before that I mean, in the sense, what Slot is trying to do is Slot is trying to build his own team. Okay, because last
Hmm.
season, I mean, we have discussed it so many times. It was essentially a Klopp's team. Now, what Slot is trying to do is trying to establish his mark. He's trying to stamp his authority. He's trying to get in his place, and for some reason, it is not working. Because when you are doing such a rebuild, especially at one of the biggest clubs in the world, you need to have some kind of rebuilding experience under your belt. I always believe
Hmm.
that. And if you see, even managers like Mourinho and Antonio Conte, two of the brightest managers of our times, they were not good with rebuild. Mourinho, he always had 3 seasons and he left. Conte wins the league in the first season and the next season he falls out with the owner, with all the players, and has boxing matches with them and that kind of stuff, and he leaves. Uh, the last season, what might have happened is in 23-24, if you recall, Klopp
Mhm,
signed too many. Klopp signed 3-4 players. He signed Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, and at the time, Liverpool finished third. And
mhm.
last season, they were all of a sudden they were settled. They had their one season under the belt in England, and they started performing. And what Slot, a smart thing Slot did was he did not try to change too much. What he did was
Yep.
he added an element of control. So last season, I remember watching Liverpool games and thinking, oh yeah, these guys are controlling games. Whenever we watched Klopp's teams, it wasn't that they were never in control, but it was more of a controlled chaos than actual
Mhm.
control. And last season, when I watched Liverpool, I thought, yeah, these guys are in control. So Slot added the element of control. He added the element of possession in the team. And this season, for some reason, it is not working out. So first reason is if you recall, me and you were discussing it in the prediction podcast we recorded at the start of the season. That first Liverpool
Hmm.
needed a centre back. They did not sign. It was
Mhm.
disastrous. Not getting Mark Gay, okay, I'm fine. Not getting Gay is fine. But how come Liverpool, who are so efficient in transfer market, they did not have a replacement ready? I was really surprised at that. Because it's not like Liverpool did not have money. Liverpool spent $400 million for
Mhm.
$1 million of pounds. And I was surprised at the fact that they did not have a replacement ready. So that was the first thing. The second thing is what I realize is you talked about Isak and Ekitike. So Ekitike started the season really well. And what again, these me and you are just two morons talking about football on internet. But what made sense at the time, for me at least, was that continuing with Ekitike,
Yeah.
let him get some time under his belt, some time, let him get settled, let him get more confidence. All of a sudden, what Slot did at the time was removing Ekitike completely from the team and putting
Yep.
Isak in, and Isak is struggling. Whenever I've seen him play at Liverpool, he's
Hmm.
not the same player. He has never been the same player. And I think a
Yeah.
couple of weeks back, he started the game. Which game did he start? I don't recall the game exactly, but he hardly had 20 touches in the game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is completely a different player, right? From the player we saw at Newcastle United.
I think it was Sunderland at Anfield where I remember at around the 65th minute or something, or 67th minute, the commentator kind of mentioned that Isak had not had a single touch in the second half,
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
up to that point. So it's like 15 or 16 minutes in the second half where we were, and Isak had not had a single touch. And yeah, I mean that's my whole point is that he's like okay, Ekitike started the season very brightly, and he's still playing well,
Just one
despite
point. I just
yeah.
so sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, this is the kind of thing we used to associate Haaland with. Because
Mhm.
defenders could isolate Haaland. But the thing with Isak was he used to get involved. His overall play was better. And all of a sudden, it is not anymore at Liverpool.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Now I'm trying to remember that is my memory incorrect of Isak at Newcastle. I used to think that he used to get a little bit more involved than this.
Most definitely, yeah. Yeah.
At the moment, whenever he gets the ball, it looks like he's going to give it away instantly. Like his touch
Yeah.
seems bad. He seems to not be able to retain possession at all. The ball just does not stick to his feet anymore. And I don't know what's going on with him. Is And that's the thing, right? It's like I don't remember him very well from Newcastle. Was he always this kind of player, or was he more of a player who used to get involved? And I seem to remember he used to.
Yeah.
He was not like how Ekitike was, how Ekitike is, right, in terms of getting
Yeah.
involved. But he used to
Yeah.
still get a little bit involved, and he's a world class
Yeah, most
finisher.
definitely.
And yeah, and he's a world class finisher, and he the goal he scored against West Ham, for example, it's a great example of of his actual
Yeah.
talent, which is
True.
he got one chance, and it was not an easy finish, right? And we've
Yeah. It
seen
wasn't. Yeah.
strike in the last few years the likes of Nunes and all of those, they've missed some ridiculously easy chances. So
Yeah.
you've seen that. So in that sense, you can clearly see that the talent is there. He is a world class finisher, and there has to be a game plan that we should make that has to suit his strength. There is no doubt
Yeah.
about it. What's the
Yeah.
point of okay? I get it. Ekitike suits you, and Ekitike is probably much better suited at the moment to the club. But there has to be something. You have to have a plan B. You have to have an alternate plan or an alternate formation or something that you need to play. Whenever Isak is on the pitch, so that it suits him. Otherwise, there is absolutely no point, right? Like, what's the point of signing such a world class striker? You could have just had some kid from the academy. If you just wanted to, throw the kitchen sink and see what it's like, you could have just had some guy from the academy and you could have played him up front, right? Like, what's the point of having a 150 million signing like Isak up front?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, and maybe that is one of the things with Slot is that it's maybe pressure of playing Isak is why he's not playing AKTK. But the fact is that at the moment, if he's able to bench Salah, then he should be able to bench Isak.
yeah, 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 yeah. See, and we have talked about Slot, and we have talked about Slot a lot. And
Hmm.
but maybe I mean, I am just astonished. Abhishek, let's do something. Let's go through some few comments, and after that, let's talk.
Yep.
Continue our discussion about Mo Salah. Salah basically has contributed as much as Klopp to putting us back on the European map. Sujit, hi Sujit. Slot is adamant about keeping Gakpo as despite underwhelming showing. Just Amorim is stubborn with his 3-4-3. Uh, hey, hi Hardik. Hardik is saying just saw Carragher's statement on Salah, and to be honest, I think that he should just take Chullu for Pani and to create what he has done. Apart from those 7 own goals, he should have backed his own club legend. Again, I have a different opinion about this, but I will talk about it. The wonder Ronaldo hates him. Oh wait, even the most humble guy in the world hates him. Ronaldo is not the most humble guy, Hardik, if that's what you meant. Ronaldo is one of the most arrogant players in the world, and of course, the that
I think he
arrogance or
probably he probably means Salah in this case.
oh, okay, 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 okay,
Hmm.
okay. In that case, and you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. For Salah, yeah, Gunner 10 AK is saying that makes sense. The way the fans have been manipulated by FSG is unacceptable. Again, Abhishek, you can throw some light on this. But before we talk about it, see, I watched the whole Carragher interview, and it
Hmm.
was 8 minutes long, and most of it made sense. See, I did not agree with Carragher about. See, last season when after winning against Southampton, Salah basically used media to get a better contract. And to be honest, I don't blame him at all for it.
Hmm.
Liverpool completely screwed up contract situation of three of your most important players. Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know how it turned out. Van Dijk and Mo Salah. It should
Hmm.
have been sorted earlier. So Salah using the club or using the media to put pressure on Liverpool, I have absolutely no problem with that, and I'm sure even you won't mind that either. And But my problem with this entire thing is, in last 30 odd games, Salah has scored 14 goals or something,
Hmm.
just 13 or 14 goals. So his form, right from the last 2 months of last season, the form has been shaky. Now you have gotten a new contract. Now it's your job to put your head down and do everything possible to make your manager's job easy, right?
Yeah.
But when Salah is saying that you are throwing me under the bus, that is one of the most ridiculous statements I've seen in football. What are you talking about? I mean, every Liverpool fan sings your name. You are being dropped because you're not scoring. And if you recall, see, I'm not Ronaldo's greatest fan. But even when Ronaldo came back in 21-22, the team was not performing. Of course, he went on PS Morgan's and that kind of and all that. But before that, in 21-22, Ronaldo scored 24 goals in that United team that was struggling. Now, you can make an argument that Ronaldo shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's a fair argument. But
Hmm.
when he was on the pitch, he gave his all. Salah is not doing that
Hmm.
for some reason. I don't want to get into that. Why is he not doing that? Because he's a world class player, right? We are not going. Nobody's going to deny that. Nobody's denying his quality, but he's not doing that. Another interesting thing, Carragher talked about was I think it was he should have passed it to Florian Wirtz when Wirtz is struggling,
Hmm.
and Salah is on. I found that point interesting because we have seen a lot of players do that. We have seen Rooney do that. We have not seen Ronaldo do that, but we have seen Rooney do that. Giggs do that. I'm sure someone like Mane or even Firmino must have done that. We have seen them doing that. So
Hmm.
Salah did not do that. So I found that point really interesting because And what I've seen on social media is most of the Liverpool fans, they're turning on Carragher for some reason. I mean, non-Liverpool fans getting pissed off at Carragher is a different thing, because our criticism with Carragher is he never criticizes Liverpool. Now, in the need of the hour is you need someone to who can defend your manager and the club, and he is exactly doing that. I have no idea why fans are turning on him for this reason. Yeah, Abhishek, let me know what you think.
So I I do agree that whatever, a lot of things that Carragher said, right? Some of the things that he said were just, it seemed just out of, bitterness or whatever. It seemed personal in the sense, everything that he had to go. The one thing that I 100% disagree with is the fact that he said that, okay, for the last 8 years, you've thrown your ex right back under the bus where you would not defend. That's not a fair statement at all. I
Hmm.
know that Salah used to, probably not defend as much as Mane used to, because, and
Yeah,
on the right side, Henderson used to do a lot of his job for him. But there are moments in the last season as well. You've seen that Salah has supported Trent quite a bit, right? That's why they were
yeah.
such a good successful partnership. So I think
Hmm.
that was a little bit unexpected
Over the top.
from yeah, it was unexpected from Carragher, because it's not entirely a true statement, and you can't make a statement like that no, you've thrown him under the bus for 8 years. I don't really think that is true. I think the whole thing about him being oh, you were known as a Chelsea failure, you had not won anything. I think that was also over the top. There is no need for
Yeah,
all of that. That
yeah.
seemed a little bit personal.
See, but about that particular statement, when he said that he was flop at Chelsea and then he did not win anything at Roma. So I think it
Mm.
was in response to when Salah said that I won so much for Liverpool Football Club. And what Carragher's point at the time was, it's a two-way street. You did not win anything before joining Liverpool. So
Mm.
it wasn't the case that you made things happen at Liverpool. Of course you did that. But even the players who played at the club made it happen for you, because you could not do
Oh
that
yeah,
at
oh yeah.
Chelsea. You could not do
No,
that
no,
at AS Roma.
there's
I
no
think
doubt.
Carragher was saying that, but because he was that emotional and angry at the time, that might have come out differently. Yeah, go on.
No, no,
Sorry.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. There's
Yeah,
like I know that people are right now say I've seen a lot of comments. Twitter is, forget about it, right? It's a cesspit. I don't really believe that Twitter is full of real people. I think it's just utter nonsense. And other social media also, like Reddit, for example, that's also become a complete cesspit these days. But I feel like there is a section of Liverpool fans who do agree with a lot of things that Carragher has said. And most of them, and a lot of them, completely disagree. I don't agree with the fact that it was only Salah, right? For
of course
example,
not.
that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like in all of this, first of all, the number one, whenever you talk about Liverpool in the last 10 years, the number one name that made it all happen comes to you is Klopp, right? You're
True.
telling me that there is no doubt without Jurgen Klopp, none of this would have happened. None of this.
Yeah,
There is no
yeah,
doubt about it. Like look
yeah,
at it, look at it right now. You have a world class team and you have a manager like Arne Slot who's struggling to even get any points on the board. We've had this run under Klopp, but we always used to say that we could always see that there was some sort of patterns. We were trying. We would make something. We were on a horrendous run after we won the league with Klopp as well, right? There's no doubt. Everyone
yeah,
knows that. But under Klopp, a lot of times we used to go with these runs because we used to have a lot. There was some reasoning behind it.
yeah,
Injury crisis, for example. My point is that, okay, now you're saying Salah is probably the most famous player in the last uh, decade, in the Premier League, even at Liverpool. There's no doubt about it, right? He is in the Premier League. If you consider who are the top five Premier Liverpool legends of all time, Salah is up there. There's no doubt
right.
about it. Salah is up
Yeah,
there. But yeah, I mean, how can you discount the fact that you can't discount the fact that Klopp was at Liverpool, the fact that we keep going on and on about about the signings of Alisson, Van Dijk, all of these players. It feels a little bit of disrespect towards our players like Van
yeah.
Dijk and Alisson. The signings of Sadio Mane, the players like Firmino, Fabinho.
Fabinho, yeah,
Yeah, the fact that we promoted Trent, we got Robertson on such a great deal. All of these signings, Joel Matip was free, Milner was free. All of these guys, it's a team sport at the end of the day, and Salah was the star, no doubt about it. But there
yeah,
is if you go out and say that no. it was just it's all Salah. It's just not true. I think those are people just being emotional about it. So yes, Carragher may have went about it the wrong way, being a little bit emotional, saying all those harsh statements about him being a failure at Chelsea. Fine, I get it, but so was Kevin De Bruyne, right? Kevin De Bruyne was also a
Yeah,
failure at Chelsea.
yeah,
Uh, but at the end of the day, Kevin De Bruyne is also a success at City with a team around him, right?
yeah, yeah,
With an outstanding team around him, the same way as Mo Salah. Both of them were superstars at their respective teams with an outstanding team around them to support them and an outstanding manager in both of their cases. And that's you can argue it, you can say whatever you like. That's just the truth, and that's not going to change. Uh,
mm,
so I that part of it I think was a little bit too much from
mm,
Carragher. But what else did he say? He said he talked about the fact that Salah has thrown him under the bus. Now, some of the comments that we had, I think one person said about what something about FSG, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like
So they, huh,
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, I'm fine with FSG. I used to think that they were some probably one of the better owners in the league at the moment.
yeah,
But the way things are going at the moment, I'm a little worried because I feel like okay, there is a control that they have over the football club, like Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards have a
Michael
control
Edwards.
over the. It feels like they are the ones behind the scenes who are calling all of the shots, and and Slot is he's kind of coming across like a yes man at the moment, which worries me for the future of the football club, in many ways. So and that was not it did not almost seem the case with Klopp, at least not for me. I used to think that Klopp was always the one who had when it came to like transfers and all right. Klopp has always said that it was him who had the last say
Yeah,
about all of the transfers. Which is why it looks like he famously fell out with Michael Edwards, and Michael Edwards left the club, right?
yeah, yeah,
And as soon as Klopp was about to leave, he came back.
yeah,
So uh, it's weird. I think FSG did a great job with backing Arne Slot this summer. I think the whole Mark Gay saga was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. If you told me that we could have got Gay and not Isak, we should have taken that. We should have
yeah,
taken that deal. We should have identified that the fact that we didn't have any centre back. We had Kwanzaa last year, who was actually doing a good job. He was not doing that bad a job. Fine, he's a kid and he's not world class or anything, right? But he did a decent job under Klopp, but he didn't do that good a job under Arne Slot, right? And we sold him to Leverkusen. Then we lost Trent. We brought in Frimpong, who's I don't know what he's up to these days. He's just injured, right? Most of the time. Bradley is injured. We brought in Kirkish, who, yeah, to be honest with you, it looks like Kirkish is finally settling down at Liverpool. Uh, and Konate is having one of the worst seasons I've seen. I cannot believe it that he's making so many mistakes that he's been doing. It's not even one or two off games. It's every game he's making a mistake. Every game.
yeah,
And I know people are saying that okay, he's he still starts Konate, he still starts Gakpo. See, the alternative to Konate is Gomez. Gomez started in the League Cup and I think he made a couple of mistakes that led to a goal directly. There is no, and Gomez is not also always fit. At
yeah,
least that's what we've been told that he has fitness issues. That's why he doesn't start. So I feel like at this moment he does not have a better alternative than Konate, and he's just trying. The whole thing about Gakpo starting that surprises me as well, which is what I said, right? Like if you have a player like Chiesa who's at least trying, who's making efforts, and he's at least making some sort of contributions, you need to reward that. The whole idea about Gakpo starting every single game is something even I don't understand. Like, why does that happen? You can try different things. Words can start over there, and I know people will say, okay, Salah is not starting enough. Gakpo has played 19 minutes more than Salah in the league. That's it, 1-9, right? 19 or 18 or 19, yeah, 19 minutes more than
mm,
Salah in the league. So
mm,
you know that just goes to show you that as much as people think Gakpo is starting too much, Salah has played enough. It's only the last two or three games where he has been benched, and in the last to last game he came on at halftime. So it's only two games he's so far been benched, and now he'll miss the game today as well. So I mean, going back to the whole topic of Mo Salah's outburst, I it's not a good thing in the middle of the season where, see, look at what has happened since, right? Look at everything that has been going on. The entire attention, the focus should have been on Slot. The focus should have been
Yeah,
on his poor performances, his inability to take the team out of this slump. The focus has completely shifted, right? FSG,
yeah.
now it looks like FSG is not going to make a decision about the manager. They will
Mm.
probably back the manager over a player who's going to go out and say the, because clearly he's gone out and
And
said that
that's
the
the way
club
it
has
should be.
thrown.
To be
Yeah,
very honest, that's the way it should be. Yeah,
he said the club has thrown him under the bus.
yeah,
There are people in the club who are trying to get him out. There are false promises being made, and maybe those false promises are from the manager, and which is fine. I mean, if that makes him want to leave, I agree. The manager has had a disaster this season so far in many ways. You know, Andy Robertson, who was starting up until last season, has been benched as
yeah,
well the entire time. Right? He's not.
yeah,
He also went out at sometime at the start of the season and said that he hoped the Liverpool fans would make the same amount of noise they made for Salah's contract because his contract is also up. And he has said about that, but he has been benched. I think that has been a big surprise. There are reports that players are also surprised that Robinson is benched so much because he's actually, whenever he's played, he was made the vice captain at the start of the season. Why would you make him the vice captain if he's not going to be on the pitch? It just
yeah,
makes no sense to me. You know,
yeah, yeah,
so everything that Salah said, his outburst, because Dominic Soboslai went out after the game, he said that yes, things are a little bit difficult, but
yeah. He was frustrated. Yeah,
whatever is going on in the dressing room, it will stay in the dressing room, and he wasn't going to air the dirty laundry in public, and then
yeah,
10 minutes later, Salah goes out and does what he in the interview did.
yeah, yeah,
You, as much as I love Salah and everything, I think that was wrong of him. I think that's just put the club in a very difficult spot. That's taken the spotlight away from Slot entirely. If FSG was even thinking about sacking him, they're probably going to back him now a little bit more, and
yeah.
that's probably what's going on. That the environment has gotten really toxic. We have all these fans who are either in backing Carragher or backing Salah or backing the team or backing Slot, whatever. It's so weird that this is how toxic it has got, and all of that is the result of that interview. So there's no doubt you can say that, oh yeah, nothing has happened and he was in the right. I don't think he was completely in the right. I don't think Carragher was also completely in the right to have a go at him in some of the ways he did, but everything he said about Salah's outburst and that it was unnecessary, it shouldn't have happened. That's not wrong. I don't think Salah should have gone out and said all of those things. If he had all of these problems, right, fine, just go. And he said, okay, he that Arne Slot and him, they don't have a relationship anymore. That they don't talk, and something like that. I think Slot came out yesterday and said that that's it's not entirely true. They have, but again, I don't know. I'm willing to believe Salah in his frustration, in terms of what he says about some of these things, but uh, and I'm not gonna. But again, it's gotten just extremely toxic at the moment after that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And you made such a good point right now that you also mentioned Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. The
Mhm.
issue with a lot of Liverpool fans, in my opinion, is any good signing, it is credited to Michael Edwards. But now, if signings are not working, why is it only Slot's fault? I mean,
Yeah, it's not.
you should also hold Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes accountable here, right? And nobody's doing that.
Yeah. And the worst part when Klopp was at Liverpool and everything, all the success, there were actually people who used to believe that this was all, a lot of this was down to the outstanding signings that Michael Edwards had
Yeah,
engineered. I thought that
yeah,
was the most ridiculous thing. It does not take, and it shows now, like Michael Edwards was at the club when Brendan Rodgers was at the club, and yeah, he famously made the Firmino signing under
Fabinho
Brendan
signing.
Rodgers when Rodgers wanted Benteke, and
Yeah,
and they came to a compromise that we'll sign both. And I agree that his record in signings has been great, but come on, you're telling me that it was Michael Edwards, it was Klopp who made them great, right?
yeah,
It was Klopp who used to find that every single player would have a could have a part to play in the team. There's no
yeah,
doubt about it. He used to do that. Now you can also argue on the other side that uh, you know uh, what is that? Red Bull Salzburg.
yeah,
I believe they were the ones who came to Anfield. They scored 3 goals. They had Wong Hee Chan, who went to Wolves. They had Minamino and they had Haaland,
yeah.
right? And Michael Edwards went out and signed Minamino, uh,
Minimum,
you
yeah,
know, and we didn't even look at Haaland. Haaland was, at that time, he was quite cheap, right? He went to Dortmund for like 20 million or something, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
fine. We had Firmino, but again, you can say that a lot of fans are saying that, how do you go over there and you sign, you can clearly see that Haaland is there and Haaland was scoring for fun at that moment. He scored against us as well. And then you went out and signed Minamino. I liked Minamino. I used to think he was a hardworking player who fit our profile, but it did work out. Again, right? Even though it didn't work out, you remember him from that cup run because he used to score all the time. He single-handedly almost won us that cup. He got us to the final. Minamino in that run. That is a credit to the fact that Klopp used to get the best out of every player. He used to make every player contribute to the team, to the cause.
yeah,
Always,
yeah,
always. He
yeah,
used to find some way to get people to contribute. Be it all those kids who won some of the cups afterwards, or be it Minamino, or be it Origi, or whoever. Right? He used to find
yeah,
ways to make sure that players contribute, and that was the beauty of that manager that made all of these signings successful. So you can't just credit that to Michael Edwards entirely. Michael
yeah,
Edwards has made some. Now look at all of the signings that have happened. You can see that Frimpong, Kirkish, all of these guys. It looks like they're not now. Okay, you can blame them. Of course, you can blame the manager. For the way the team is set up and tactically it's not working out, but you can 100% place the blame on the transfer committee
Edward's
and
huge,
whoever
huge, yeah,
for messing up the entire Mark Gahey deal. And
yeah,
if they left it at the last day, if it was a matter of if you couldn't sign Isak, and you had the opportunity to put some more money to sign Mark Gahey, you should have done that. There is
yeah,
no doubt about it. It was quite clear from the very beginning we needed a good centre back. I don't know why
yeah,
they didn't do that, but it clearly has is now having a it's come back to bite us this season.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's no
yeah,
doubt you have to place the blame on the likes of Edwards and Hughes. And now
yeah,
Edwards and Hughes are going to call the shots in everything that's going on with Mo Salah as well. I think they're going to end up backing the manager. And I think they still believe that this manager can turn it around. And I've lost hope with him, to be honest, with Slot, because I think he's lost the dressing room, to be honest. I don't think he
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Uh, I think the players are also unhappy. He's lost the dressing room, but that's what it's happened, right? The whole focus, the entire focus should have been there. Entire focus should have been there, and
yeah,
uh, you know, but now the focus is taken away. It's a
yeah,
totally different angle, and it's a totally different problem for FSG and Edwards and Hughes to deal with. It's not Slot is not the number one problem they have to deal with at the moment, and that's
yeah,
the worst part about everything that's happened.
yeah,
The
yeah,
number one problem should be Slot.
yeah, yeah. And what I did not understand is, I mean, Salah is anyway living for F1 in a couple of weeks, right?
Hmm.
Why not wait for a couple of weeks? What was the rush? I mean, does he think that this is the PR battle he can win? I don't think that's going to happen. Especially at the seniors at the club level, as you rightly said, they're going to back the manager at any cost. I mean, he could
Yep.
have just stayed quiet, or he could have picked a different time for this. What he basically did was he stopped in the mix zone to talk to media. You know what
Hmm.
happened? I mean, in the mix zone, if anyone has seen the video of mix zone, any player walking through mix zone, the player are walking, media wants to talk to them, and unless until they want to say something, they won't. So this was Carragher rightly said that this was premeditated, choreographed exercise. So he
Hmm.
knew what he was doing, especially when the players have so much PR. They have people advising them about each and everything. They have media training. They have media personnel helping them out. So this was premeditated. There is no doubt about that. And I still do not understand why did he couldn't wait at least for a couple of weeks. I just don't know. And there is a
I
possibility this was Salah's last game. There is a possibility of that happening. I'm not saying
Hmm.
this with certainty, but there is a possibility of that happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has one more game now at Anfield next this weekend at Brighton, and he went out and he said that he's called his parents over for that game because he's thinking that that might be his, I think he's alluding to the fact that that might be his last game. That's why he's calling his parents over to come for that game.
Oh, I did not know this. Yeah, yeah,
But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know that he's going to AFCON, and maybe that is a point that why he's making all of this because he's potentially eyeing to leave Liverpool in Jan. Maybe that is why he's coming out and saying all of these things. But it's caused a massive disruption in the season. It's not helping anyone, and only going to get until there is some sort of a. I don't think Salah is a player who's going to come out and say sorry that okay, I apologize that okay, this was wrong or this was not correct and not bad. It was not a good call, and I know people are going to defend him, but I think his outburst was unnecessary at all.
quite. Yeah, yeah,
Completely
yeah,
unnecessary,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it just puts everything in the it. As I said, right, more than I don't care if he has a go at Edwards and Hughes, right? There's absolutely don't care. It's fine. Completely have a go at them. Have a go at FSG. It's completely fine, right?
mm, yeah,
But
yeah,
my biggest concern, my biggest problem with the whole thing is that how it has taken the spotlight away from the real problem about how our coaching is extremely bad, which is where all of our
yeah,
focus should have been. Now the
yeah,
focus is Mo Salah. Now the focus is everything that's going on with him, everything that Carragher has said, and the whole okay, Salah versus Liverpool, Salah versus FSG, Salah versus Slot, Salah versus Carragher. That's all it has happened.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have done that. He's potentially eyeing a move away in Jan maybe, and that's what led him to think that okay, this was the right way to go about it, the right move to make. But he's put the club in a very bad spot, and
yeah,
unfortunately, he's such a big legend of the football club that I really did not expect that he would go out and do something like that.
yeah,
So it's pretty sad in a way. If this is the end of Mo Salah, it would be the worst way to go because
yeah,
Sadio Mane left. He didn't have any sort of a proper farewell that he deserved. Or the only one from the famous front three that actually got a farewell is Firmino. Even Divock Origi got one. You've had Joel Matip, Divock Origi, all of these guys, and the superstar of the team who was Mo Salah, not get having a proper farewell or not getting to leave Anfield the way he is just it's not a good thing. It's very heartbreaking. It's just sad that this is how it's supposed to end. If it is going to end, which is what I honestly think, there's no other way out of this.
yeah,
I think this is
yeah,
going to end only in, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, let's just go through a few comments. I didn't like both the statements Sam is saying from Salah and Carragher that they made on
Mm.
each other, especially not at the moment. It doesn't look good. I haven't seen the entire Carragher video, and I may be wrong. But Sam, as Abhishek and me both are saying, I think Carragher made most of what he said made sense. Of course, he was emotional, he was angry, and he loves
Mm.
Liverpool, that kind of stuff. So some things might have come out wrong, but I think he made a lot of sense in that. Sam is he's saying that I feel there is a huge communication gap between the management and Salah. Now, after Salah's statements, he's going to face backlash from the management. Exactly. Yeah, like he's
That
being
no
dropped
doubt,
against
no
Twitter.
doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yes.
One more reason Salah may have dropped is for adaptability during AFCON. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, when you drop him, definitely any manager will try his own formations, right? And he can always make an excuse that, yeah, Salah is going. So before all of a sudden, everything changing all of a sudden when Salah leaves, it makes sense to give these players some time to play in a new system to get to know each other and how they perform on the pitch, that kind of stuff. He could have done that, right? Which I
Hmm.
don't think so is the reason. Though I feel only 3 games should not be the difference.
Yeah, it's only exactly right. It's only been 3 games, and out of that, also one game he came off the bench in the second half.
Yeah,
That's my biggest concern is that it's not. So he's missed 2 games. It's not like he's been benched for 7, 8 games at the moment,
yeah,
and he's kind of getting frustrated. I know the
yeah.
entire club is frustrated with the run of results, but it's only been 2.5 games that he's not played.
And see, the problem is not with frustrating. Problem is not with being a prick when you are substituted. I mean, all the great players are like that.
Mm.
I mean, Ronaldo used to do that even with Alex Ferguson. So
Hmm.
probably the scariest manager of all time, and Ronaldo used to do that with him. All the great players are great because they don't like getting substituted. They don't like sitting on that bench. That is
Yeah.
the part of their greatness. So absolutely, there is no, because I remember I don't know who it was against. I think in Klopp's last season, I think Klopp subbed him and he was pissed off and
Mm.
arguing with him on the touchline or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of hoopla about it on social media, and I'm thinking, Salah is a fantastic player. He doesn't like getting substituted. That's part of,
Mm.
I mean, that's part of his personality that makes him
I
so
mean,
good.
that even
So
Mane has had a go at Klopp
yeah, I
in that
mean,
way. I
that's
mean, all of
that's
these
natural.
players,
Yeah,
right, especially with ambition, with players like ambition
yeah,
like him and Mane and all, it just always happens. And it could be a huge communication gap, as this guy is saying, Sam is saying, right, in the sense that, maybe he's been promised something differently. Maybe as he said correctly, it could be because AFCON is coming up and Slot needs some sort of formation to stick so as to remove the reliance on Salah, which, to be honest, there hasn't been much reliance in the last few game weeks. But
yeah,
it could be a great exercise in him trying to find out what alternative might work when Salah is away for
yeah,
AFCON,
yeah,
which
yeah,
he might be trying. But again, there could be a communication gap that this hasn't been communicated very well enough for Salah to understand it in a way that makes, and maybe that's the part where he comes out and says that, okay, I don't have a relationship with the manager anymore. Fine, which, it looks bad, I know, but again, it's not something, if he has a problem, he should be talking about this internally with the club, but going out in the public and saying all of that is just,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And there is a clear communication gap at Liverpool, and we talked about it when we discussed the whole Trent saga. I mean,
Hmm.
someone could have convinced him to stay, could have convinced him to stay for another year and not go on free and something like that. That did not happen. So there is a definite communication gap at Liverpool. And see what happens with and that's happening with me. It's still happening with me about Sir Alex Ferguson. But Ferguson was such a fantastic communicator. So if he decided to drop a player from the team, he used to call him in his office. He used to explain him. At times, he used to give him absolutely rubbish reason. The grass on that pitch is a bit hard, so you will not play for the next month or something like that. Or in
Hmm.
December, when the climate is something, the weather is cold, at the time you will play. It was a rubbish reason, but he made
Hmm.
an effort to communicated to that player, and the player, even though he got a bit pissed, but he realized he at least cared that a manager is communicating with me. He
Yeah, yeah,
values me enough to convey this to me. So this is something, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure that happens with Klopp as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because these sort of things
Yeah,
never came out. Like I know that Mane, Salah have on the pitch sometimes shows that frustration with Klopp, but these sort of things never came out with Klopp in the sense that I'm pretty sure that even Klopp was big enough to go and confront these situations head on, right?
yeah, yeah,
I'm pretty sure if any of these things happened, he would go right away in the dressing room and talk to that player or confront him,
yeah,
or the next day, something like that, right? He was
yeah, yeah,
that sort of a personality.
yeah,
And maybe Slot is not, maybe Slot is different, but and that has kind of pissed him off. But with these sort of things, you expect a lot of big players to do these sort of things. I did not expect Salah to do it, to be honest. But anyway,
yeah, yeah. What Alex is saying, nah, nonsense. They're playing slot style football, lots of control, no penetration. I think we are saying that, right? We don't disagree, right? Yeah,
oh yeah, no penetration.
yeah.
What I don't know what control there is. There is no control, to be honest. I feel like it's just a bunch of sideways passing at the moment.
Yeah.
That's all we
Yeah,
have.
just having possession is not control, right? Control is when to know. I mean, you should know when the game to slow down the game. You should know when to
Yeah.
change the pace of the game. That is control, right? Just having
It's
possession is
just
not control.
sideways passing, pass it to from side to side to side. It goes to Gakpo. Gakpo will cut in, put in a ridiculous cross that the opponent has the ball. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
our style of play.
Klopp famously wanted Brandt over Salah, but was overruled. Yeah, Klopp decided the style of play, and Liverpool got the players to fit it. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
true. That's true.
Liverpool doesn't press, can't defend pace, and take forever to transition from defense to attack, and that's all Salah's fault. I don't think we are saying that. Actually,
No,
Abhishek
no,
spent
no.
the first 15 minutes.
I'm saying it's
I
a
think we,
coaching problem. I think it's a
uh,
tactical problem. There is no there
yeah,
is no doubt about it.
Alexi made just a suggestion. After this is over, you can just go back to the first 15 minutes of this
Mm,
live stream and check it. And for the first 15-20 minutes, Abhishek was talking about how things are
100%.
not working under slot, and we
And
are not.
that's exactly, it's not it's not Salah's fault at all. The that how we are playing and how poorly we are playing. It is a coaching. It's a tactical problem. That's what I've been saying all along. That this is what I hate the most about this whole Salah's interview and outburst is that it's taking all of the attention away from that. That's my
Yeah,
biggest problem with the whole thing.
yeah, yeah. At the end, I feel both will leave maybe by the end of the season. Yeah, that's a fair point. There is a possibility
Mm,
that there is a good future for Liverpool when once both of these guys leave. There is a possibility of that happening. Yeah.
mm.
Hey, hi Shreyansh. Shreyansh is saying that that's a big blunder from Salah. Should have kept quiet, as Danny Murphy said. Should have gone and knocked the manager's door and confront him, saying these things doesn't help the club or even the players. Absolutely, 100%. A Trent got a better farewell than Salah. That's very sad. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, unfortunate.
yeah. What has slot change in formation and tactics which has contributed to Salah's drop in form? Because Abhishek, you can answer this, but I don't think Salah's drop in form has anything to do with slot. To be very honest, because Salah was started underperforming ever since last season, right? So it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yes.
it entirely slot's fault. You can blame slot for Liverpool not performing well, but I don't think it has anything to do with Salah's form. I'm sure it is happening now, but Salah's dip in form that started last season.
That started
Last
at
season,
towards the end of last season. Yeah,
yeah,
that isn't something new. That started towards the end of last season. He had an outstanding last season, but his dip in form had already started
yeah,
towards the end of last season.
yeah. Shreyansh, I read it somewhere on Twitter that the relationship between Trent and Slot was not good. We have seen so many times last season when Slot used to take off Trent, and he was clearly pissed off with that. Actually, this is a good point, and I remember could have been in the middle of the season when Trent tried some Hollywood pass or something like that, and Slot was really pissed with him. And of course, manager gets pissed with his players. That's nothing new. But there was something amiss between Trent and Arne Slot.
Hmm.
Is what I felt. Yeah, yeah. Abhishek, if there is anything else you want to address about this whole saga?
No, no, I think I should go as well now. I think we've said enough. I think we'll have more stuff going on in the next couple of days. More things to talk about. We'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens now. Clearly, the first step was going to be to drop him from Inter's game. That's no doubt. And I
Yeah,
think Allison also said that in his press conference, is that especially after his interview, you cannot be. It's no surprise that he's not here, that he's been dropped.
no, no,
So now it totally depends on what is the way that the club and Salah himself takes to resolve this, because I don't think Salah is the kind of player who's going to come out and apologize for what he said,
yeah,
and I don't think the club is going to back down either.
yeah,
So I mean, what does he want? And there has to be behind that now. Everything that has to happen behind the doors. That's all I hope.
yeah,
If
yeah,
it shouldn't happen out in public anymore, and that's and that then it gets worse. Then it gets much worse and gets toxic, and people have these camps where people are like, oh no, I'm totally team Salah, or team Carragher or whatever, right? Team Slot. There are
yeah.
people who in all of these are somehow supporting Slot entirely, which surprises me the most, because I, I'm not one to call for manager sacking at all, in usually, but you can clearly see that he's out of his depth, right?
For,
And we have a good enough team at the moment.
yeah. For all you know, the team slot might be from the bot fonts in Islamabad.
What?
You know that. I mean, you know that right? There are lots of bot forms in Pakistan and East Asia and everywhere in the world, and they talk
Uh,
rubbish on Twitter so that they get paid due to the
oh,
engagement. Yeah.
sure.
So all you know, this could be a bot form in Islamabad. You never know with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One last comment will take. Can we generalize Dutch managers cannot perform well in PL? To be fair to Arne Slot, he
Especially the
won the
ones.
league.
Yeah.
The
Especially
bot ones.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
those are the new brothers of destruction, Ten Hag and Slot. You know, they're, I mean, but still, Slot is a Premier League winner. You can't deny that. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, you can't take that away from him. Yeah, there might be some reasons, different reasons, and now he might have realized the club is too big for him. That is a possibility of
Mm.
that happening. But yeah, you have to
Yeah,
give him credit for that. Yeah, slot is the main problem that has what has CSR done, what has Rio done, that he's not interested in playing them over gap. But I think Abhishek addressed
hundred
this.
percent,
That yeah, not sure what's happening
hundred
there.
percent. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Gakpo. I know he makes a lot of contributions, but I've said this before at the beginning as well that the fact I don't understand why does
Yeah.
Chiesa and Rio, who both started the season so well, have been, have played so little since.
Yeah. Cannot forget the goalkeeper that Crystal Palace. It was horrible, Abhishek,
Mm.
if you recall. At the
Yeah,
start of 2017-18 season, yeah, Frank de Boer was the manager, Crystal
yeah.
Palace
I
manager.
remember
And he,
Mourinho's interview about him. The worst manager in the Premier League, seven games, seven defeats or something like that. He went
5 games,
completely
yeah, he played.
two-footed into De Boer. Yeah,
It was really funny. And he played 5 games and he lost all of them all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Something like that.
who did they bring back? Your favorite manager, Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. On that note, let's call this. Let's close this. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Sriyansh. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Hardik. We'll meet again. Let's hope we'll be able to do. Abhishek, I think from next week we will be able to do this more frequently, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. From tomorrow onward, actually, you can do this more frequently, at least for the next month.
Oh, great, great, great. Then let's have at least one more this week. All right.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.